There is yet another story out this morning that tells me that Republicans in Congress are starting to pull away from Donald Trump, that the loyalty from Trump Republicans in Congress is fracturing in really significant ways. Remember last week when a group of Democratic veterans in Congress made statements to current members of the military, reminding them that they have an obligation to disobey unlawful orders, that they cannot be punished for disobeying unlawful orders, and in fact, it is their duty to do so. In response to them just stating what the law is, Donald Trump retweeted or rebleeded, whatever it is on Truth Social, he reposted something from a dude with an Iron Cross profile pic that said that those members of Congress should be hanged. And then Trump went on to make his own posts later in which he said that those members of Congress should be put to death. Right, this is the president of the United States outright stoking political violence. And I was like, why are Republicans silent? There was a reporting yesterday from MSNBC or MS Now or whatever they call themselves now, saying that those members of Congress, those Democrats who spoke out, are receiving vile death threats. The president of the United States is the one who did that. The president of the United States is the one who has stoked that political violence. He knows what he's doing. Remember January 6th, fight like hell or you're not going to have a country anymore? I cannot believe that Merrick Garland and the Democrats were like, not really enough here for us to charge him. Not really enough. We're going to pretend that it wasn't explicit. Go commit an insurrection. So therefore we can't charge him with anything. So after these threats came down, I was like, hey, Republicans in Congress, where the fuck are you? The president called for the deaths of your colleagues and you're not coming out of the woodwork to condemn this. It's wild to me, actually, how many Democrats didn't come out to condemn it. But, Republicans who are like, oh no, we're the law and order party. We're definitely not puppets of a would-be autocrat. We're definitely not a fascist party. Fucking crickets from them. And at the time, I was like, hey, Democrats, remember in the post-Trump era, remember that when the president of the United States called for you to be hanged, your Republican colleagues stayed silent. These aren't just your colleagues across the aisle. These are outright fascists who won't speak up for you, won't defend you. They will let Donald Trump say these things and it will go unanswered. Remember who your Republican colleagues actually are. Know them by their actions, not who you think that they should be, not who Republicans were across the aisle from you in like 1987, but who they are in 2025. Fully a fascist party. So the rhetoric from the regime has become more incendiary. Pete Kegsbreath is saying that he will reactivate Senator Mark Kelly to active duty so that he can court-martial him for simply explaining what the actual law is. Yeah, absolutely. This is demonstrating the extreme level of crash out from the Republicans, the unhinged behavior. But this is what they do, right? They do extreme things. They try to do things that are absolutely outlandish, illegal, violent, overtly threatening. And then they see who pushes back. And so far, the Republicans have been silent. But today we have reporting that 2 Republicans have actually spoken out. One of them in the mildest possible way. But seeing any Republicans being willing to stand up is something, it's important. And especially because those 2 are senators. So Senator Mark Kelly, a very much respected, very moderate Democrat who is a veteran, being targeted by the regime. The silence from the Republicans has been very damning. It says that they will put their loyalty to Donald Trump above the lives of their colleagues. We already knew that they were willing to put their loyalty to Trump above the lives of regular Americans, but they're doing it even above the lives of their colleagues. But now we hear Senator Lisa Murkowski willing to speak out. She said, Senator Kelly valiantly served our country as an aviator in the U.S. Navy before later completing 4 space shuttle missions as a NASA astronaut. To accuse him and other lawmakers of treason and sedition for rightfully pointing out that service members can refuse illegal orders is reckless and flat out wrong. She posted this yesterday on her social media accounts. She also added that the Department of Defense and FBI surely have more important priorities than this frivolous investigation. It's not frivolous, it's malicious. But it's not just Lisa Murkowski. Senator John Curtis, a Republican of Utah, who is a conservative, wrote, "I respect Mark Kelly and value his friendship." He went on to add, "I know him as someone whose career has been defined by service. His record as a combat naval aviator and NASA astronaut reflects his example of the discipline and dedication that are important for success." Lest we not forget, Donald Trump promised to end the weaponization of law enforcement, even though he has used the Department of Justice and now the FBI and the Department of Defense as his own personal retribution team all year. Look at the prosecutions of Letitia James and James Comey that were just dismissed. And now he is going after veterans in Congress simply for speaking the truth and explaining the law. This is a good time to bring up Senator Murphy's Blue Sky post from the other day, where Donald Trump put this out on his Truth Social. Trump thought that this was going to be evidence against Mark Kelly and the other veterans in Congress. Senator Chris Murphy, Trump literally tweeted this out. "Should orders and the law ever conflict, our officers must obey the law." The plaque is displayed at West Point. It's the law, it's not sedition. Donald Trump just showed proof that Mark Kelly and the other veterans in Congress are correct. Now, there was reporting yesterday that Donald Trump's executive branch said every order to the military from Donald Trump is a legal order. And I know we have the cringiest dictator. We have the cringiest autocrat. But just being like, it's legal because I say so, like that's not a thing. I understand that that's what autocrats try and do. They do something terrible and illegal, and they tell you that they're allowed to. They tell you that it's legal, and then they see if you accept it. We're not accepting Donald Trump saying every word out of my mouth is law. Everything that I say is legal. This is the same way Donald Trump has used executive orders all year, pretending that there's some kind of monarchical decree and that if he puts it in an EO, it must be law. But the courts have been checking him over and over and over again on that, because an executive order is not law. And Congress, by the way, could step in and they could exercise their power in that capacity to actually craft laws to defend democracy. But they're not. Republicans are not doing that. Most of them are not even willing to speak up for veterans in Congress who are being threatened with death by Donald Trump. For his part, Senator Kelly is doing the right thing in this moment. When a bully comes for you, you don't back down. You cannot obey. You cannot let them have a victory, or they will just continue to take more and more and more. Kelly said yesterday, "I'm not backing down. We said something very simple. Members of the military need to follow the law. We wanted to say that we have their backs." His response, "Kill them." Watching two members of the Senate being willing to publicly make a statement is really, really important. It's not enough. We need every senator to come out against this. We need every member of Congress to come out against Donald Trump issuing death threats to veterans in the House and the Senate. But this is a start, and it's a really important start, because just a couple of months ago, no Republicans would have been willing to speak out. And now we have two, including a conservative Republican from Utah. If you have a Republican member of Congress, now is a good time to call them, to email them, especially if you're a veteran, and say, what the hell? Why is it that you are not speaking out against this? You're okay with the president threatening to hang veterans serving in Congress? You're okay with the president threatening to hang your colleagues for simply explaining the law? You're okay with millions of taxpayer dollars being spent on malicious FBI and DOD investigations? What the hell gives? There was significant reporting out yesterday that Republicans in the House are very resentful of Trump. They are fed up with his tactics. A bunch of them want to quit. They are fracturing. Their loyalty is beginning to crumble. They're tired of being strong-armed and threatened all the time. And those same fractures are happening in the Senate. We're seeing more and more Republicans are willing to go against Donald Trump. Look at the discharge petition votes. Look at these two senators being willing to speak out yesterday. There are big cracks forming in Donald Trump's formerly iron grip on Republicans in Congress. It's up to us, the American people, to just pour a whole bunch of water in those cracks and then just freeze them the fuck out. It's up to us to ice those cracks into fissures, into chasms. Donald Trump needs the Republicans in Congress to be able to complete his terrible plan. Project 2025 needs Republicans in Congress to be loyal to Donald Trump no matter what. The more we see fractures, the more we see them willing to speak up against what Trump is doing, to act against what Trump wants. the more we should be encouraging that kind of behavior. It's a good sign, but we need more. We need more Republicans to speak out. So call and email your members of Congress and your senators and say, where's your loyalty to our veterans? Where's your loyalty to the Constitution? How can you sit silent and let Trump wish death on your colleagues? We have to keep encouraging these fractures.